On July 4, 1776, the Second Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, our nation's founding document. Thomas Jefferson, a leading revolutionary and future president of the United States, wrote the Declaration to lay out why 13 British American colonies decided to declare independence from Great Britain. These reasons included 27 grievances against the Crown and Parliament and asserted the founding principles of the new nation, freedom and equality. As the United States settled into its new nationhood, Americans debated who the words of the Declaration were truly for. The Declaration of Independence asserted that all men are created equal, yet it made no mention of women. It claimed that freedom was an unalienable right, yet 20% of the population remained enslaved. On July 5, 1852, Frederick Douglass, a well-known abolitionist who had self-emancipated 14 years earlier, gave a speech at an Independence Day commemoration in Rochester, New York. It was 9 years before the start of the Civil War, and tensions ran high among Americans over the issue of slavery. Douglass's words highlighted the paradox of the American Revolution, a call for liberty while maintaining the institution of slavery. They also demonstrate the complexity and evolution of Americans' understandings of freedom and how the Declaration of Independence created a society where people can critique their government without fear of repercussion. The Declaration of Independence inspired millions and changed the world for generations to come. As you listen to the words of Thomas Jefferson and Frederick Douglass, we invite you to reflect on what the Declaration of Independence means to you.
When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another.
The papers and placards say that I am to deliver a 4th of July oration. This certainly sounds large and out of the common way for me.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
The fact is, ladies and gentlemen, the distance between this platform and the slave plantation from which I escaped is considerable, and the difficulties to be overcome in getting from the latter to the former are by no means slight.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it.
This is the 4th of July. It is the birthday of your national independence and of your political freedom. Citizens, your fathers made good that resolution. They succeeded.
All experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
Fellow citizens, pardon me. Allow me to ask, why am I called upon to speak here today? What have I, or those I represent, to do with your national independence?
The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states.
Are the great principles of political freedom and of natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us?
To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world.
What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim.
For cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent.
I am not included within the pale of this glorious anniversary. Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The rich inheritance of your justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me.
For depriving us, in many cases, of the benefits of a trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses.
Must I undertake to prove that the slave is a man? That point is conceded already. Nobody doubts it. The slaveholders themselves acknowledge it in the enactment of laws for their government. They acknowledge it when they punish disobedience on the part of the slave.
He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people.
There are 72 crimes in the state of Virginia which, if committed by a black man, subject him to the punishment of death, while only 2 of the same crimes will subject a white man to the like punishment. What is this but the acknowledgement that the slave is a moral, intellectual, and responsible being?
They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends.
You declare before the world and are understood by the world to declare that you hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and yet you hold securely in a bondage a 7th part of the inhabitants of your country.
We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states.
The existence of slavery in this country, it destroys your moral power abroad. It corrupts your politicians at home.
That they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved.
Allow me to say, in conclusion, notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented of the state of the nation, I do not despair of this country. There are forces in operation which must inevitably work the downfall of slavery.
And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
I, therefore, leave off where I began, with hope. While drawing encouragement from the Declaration of Independence, the great principles it contains, and the genius of American institutions, my spirit is also cheered by the obvious tendencies of the age. A change has now come over the affairs of mankind.